Honorable Magistrate, as I have indicated, I would like to talk concerning my representation on these proceedings. And what I'm going to say, Honorable Magistrate, should be part of the records and should be recorded correctly. Honorable Magistrate, I have more than 30 advocates. And these advocates, I am the one that appointed them personally. They are my advocates. And I selected them because I have faith in their ability and competence to represent me in these proceedings. Most of them, I have worked with them. These are elderly, Alute and Mpoki. These senior advocates have actually nurtured me professionally, but also for Alute, he has nurtured me literally. He took the position or role of my father, Lissu. They are advocates that for many years that I've known them are of impeccable integrity and competence. Now, Honorable Magistrate, today, where we are now, this is the 68th day since when I was arraigned before this honorable court and I read the charges on treason. 68 days. And from when the charges were read, Honorable Magistrate, you ordered that I should be taken to remand prison. And for 68 days, I have been in remand prison for 1 week in Keko prison, and since Friday, Ukonga prison. 68 days. In these 68 days, Honorable Magistrate, my advocates have come to visit me in prison in order to advise one another on how we can fight against these charges. They've never stopped coming or attending, or rather visiting me in prison. And all the time that they've been coming in these 68 days, they've never been permitted to see me and to communicate with me in confidence. They've never been permitted to meet me and talk to me in private. Something what has happened, if you go to Ukonga prison, once you pass the reception, there is an empty room on the right side, and this small room is partitioned with a mirror wall, or a glass wall. So when they come, they have to stand behind the glass on the reception, which is behind them, and then I stand on the other side of the glass wall. So we communicate by phone with advocates. We communicate by phone. There's no opportunity to exchange documents, and I have many documents with me. There's no opportunity to write anything because there's no table to sit and write. There's no chair. We have to talk everything through a phone line. Now, Honorable Magistrate, I have demanded over and over to the prison chief that I, as a prisoner that has a set of advocates, I have the right, a constitutional right, to see my advocates in confidence. It is my right. It is not the will of the jail. These are rights as I have them. And the jailers know this. In fact, Honorable Magistrate, there is one advocate who visited me, and I was telling the jailer, and they said, if phone communication is not possible, come to the reception. But at the reception, you have prison officers on the second part of this door, and then I'm on the prison side of it, and all the prison officers are seeing me or listening to what I'm talking. Everyone is listening. Every prison officer is listening to what I'm talking. And even in phone communication, who is intercepting the communication? Who else is intercepting the communication? Who is eavesdropping? Who knows that there's another, who doesn't know, probably there's another person somewhere that is intercepting our communication. Who knows that? In the control room, there are no bugs that are intercepting sounds to capture the communication between I and my advocate. Now, Honorable Magistrate, let's go to laws. Because this is a court of law, so I would like to draw your attention to some legal provisions. I would like to read Regulation 13. Of prisons, prison management regulations of 1987. Prisons, in brackets, prison management, close brackets, regulations of 1987. Number 6 of 1987. GN number 630 of 1987, which reads as follows, and I'm going to read it in English and then interpret it so that everyone will be able to understand. So he's now reading in English. We can follow directly. Of communication with legal advisor or such other person as the with inside, out of here. Out of here. That's what the Shiva. Now this principle This principle, this regulation that an advocate and an accused should not be eavesdropped when they communicate is part of the mother law, or is part of international instruments or conventions. And I would like to read the Board of Principles for the protection of all persons under any form of detention or imprisonment. These Board of Principles are known as the Mandela Principles. Mandela Principles. They were adopted by the United Nations General Assembly by resolution of the United Nations General Assembly, resolution number 43 stroke 173 of the 9th December 1988. Those principles on the protection of all persons under detention or are imprisoned. Now, patience a little bit as I'm searching for the relevant provision. Principle 18 of the Mandela Principles. 1 is reading in English. We can follow directly.
Shall be entitled to communicate and consult with his legal counsel. A detained or imprisoned person shall be allowed adequate time and the facility for consultations with his legal counsel. Three, the right of a detained or imprisoned person to be visited by and to consult and communicate without delay or censorship and in full confidentiality with his legal counsel may not be suspended or restricted save in exceptional circumstances to be specified by law or lawful regulations when it is considered indispensable by a judicial or other authority in order to maintain security and good order.
These principles, by the term other authorities, is also the court itself, and not a jailer or a prison officer that decides. It is the court of law that decides whether you should meet your advocate or not, or whether there should be restrictions. It is only the court that is vested with this authority, and I shall revert back to this position. Now, Honorable Magistrate, what we are talking about here, provision 4 on provision. Now, is reading in English, we can follow directly.
And his legal counsel mentioned in this principle
I'm sorry for the interruption. There was a power cut. I know that this case is a case on the charge of treason, and the punishment is death by hanging. I know that. I am aware. I also know that. And if I go to the High Court, I know I'll be taken to the High Court. And during committee proceedings, where you won't be able to decide anything, Honorable Magistrate, I'll be able to defend myself.
I will defend myself.
I will have to defend myself. If there's someone worried that I won't be able, they should remember that I am also the judge. I'm also an advocate of the High Court and of the Magistrate Court for almost 22 years now. And in all these 22 years that I've served as an advocate, I have conducted cases in this courtroom, in the High Court, and in the Court of Appeal of Tanzania. Therefore, anyone worried that I won't get representation if I represent myself, they should not get worried.
I'm capable of defending myself.
I am capable of defending myself.
About me.
And this is about me.
It is about my life.
And my life.
Treason carries.
He's not speaking in English.
Death by hanging.
If there is anyone to be responsible, that person should be me, and not my advocate, who have tried everything they can within their powers, but failed. Therefore, Honorable Magistrate, is no speaking in English? No. That is number one, Honorable Magistrate. The second reason of this decision is that I have said, Honorable Magistrate, that we, as prisoners, even though I'm being called a prisoner according to these regulations, I have rights. Despite me being a detainee, I still have my rights. Honorable Magistrate, the first right that I have, according to these regulations and the prison management, is the right to worship God. Regulation 14 of these regulations, prison management regulations. But also, according to Mandela principles, I can bring it to your attention later. I have the right to worship. Every Sunday, Christians, I am also a Christian. Christians, the service is brought to them by the Ukonga Central Prison every Sunday. And in all Christian festivals or holidays, prisoners receive religious service or worship service. I was taken to Ukonga on Friday morning. And when I was received immediately, I asked the chief prison officer to go and worship during the on the Easter Sunday. I asked the chief prison officer that I would like to go and worship. He rejected my my plea or my request. On the Easter Monday, I asked the jailer that I want to go and worship. He refused. And I've requested over and over, but they've refused all the Sundays, including yesterday. I was denied the right to go and worship. All other prisoners go to worship, except I. And others that I'll mention them shortly. Regulation 14 says, he is reading in English, we can follow directly.
Religion shall be admitted at proper and reasonable times to a prison to visit prisoners.
A religious leader will be allowed to go to prison for appropriate time to visit prisoners, not to inform them about anything. There's no tea drinking. It's to conduct religious or spiritual service. For Muslims every Friday, for Christians every Sunday, and every Christian holiday. All go except this treasonous man who cannot even pray to God. He is prohibited even to pray to God.
14:3
Regulation 14:3 says, 14:2, and is reading in English.
Religion shall be permitted to hold religious services at such hours and in such places as the officer in charge may permit, and the officer in charge shall make such arrangements for the holding of religious services and for the religious instruction of prisoners, shall not in any way interfere with the routine and administration of the prison.
We, according to the law, we're supposed to be taught religion or religious instruction. In case you don't have a communion, these are things you're supposed to get taught in order to be baptized or participate in the Lord's Supper.
It is the law.
And 14:3 says, and is reading in English, we can follow directly.
And the religious instruction shall be voluntary.
Attending religious service is not mandatory, it's voluntary. I have decided to go, but I've been denied for 68 days. Therefore,
my right of worship
is, as arguing in English, my right to worship has been gravely violated, my legal right. And I've informed my advocates throughout. They have fought for me so hard, but they have failed. Number 3. Where am I living in the prison? Where am I living exactly while in prison, Ukonga prison? Honorable Magistrate, Ukonga prison has 2 main parts or sections. There's the first place where all prisoners under prison life term, 30 years term, detainees stay. They're grouped there together. And then there is one place, it's called a special wing, where prisoners under death sentence stay, those that have been convicted. It's those where I am dwelling, with those awaiting execution. So he's staying with the death row prisoners. Therefore, Honorable Magistrate, if you're on the death row, what does that mean? Let me read the law for you. What does that imply? That is Regulation 33. Talks about those on the death row. This is what it reads, and it reads in English.
Notwithstanding anything contained in these regulations, a prisoner under sentence of death shall A, be confined apart from other prisoners and shall be under the constant supervision of 2 prison officers by day and by night.
If you're on the death row, as I am, if I'm convicted of death, at least not yet, probably I will be. The law says those on death row, those convicted and subjected to death penalty, are supposed to be separated from other prisoners, all other prisoners. I've been on the death row from Sunday, from Friday towards Easter, up to this day as we speak today. And if I have to go and meet my advocates or my relatives, there are 2 prison officers that go with me, as it is required for those under death row. I'm under constant surveillance by day and night. I'm not convicted of death, but I stay on the death row in under constant surveillance by day and by night. If you're on the death row, as I have been, you still have certain rights and entitlements. You have rights according to these regulations. For example, I talked about the right to worship, the right to worship.
A prisoner under sentence of death
is reading directly in English.
To receive visits by a minister of the religious denomination to which the prisoner belongs. For hata wabego wana haki ya kuabudu.
All prisoners, even in death row, are supposed to worship, but they are denied this right, including I personally. If you're on the death row, even when you are convicted of death, a prisoner under the sentence of death
shall be allowed such a amount of
He's reading in English.
as the commissioner made like that. Wanaruhusiwa kufanya mazoezi.
Prisoners on the death row are allowed to exercise.
Kufanya mazoezi.
To exercise.
Kwenye chumba changu napokaa mheshimiwa.
Where I am living,
hapo death row. Death row imezungukiwa na
the death row is surrounded by a thick wall. Behind the prison cell where I am, there is a huge stadium, a football stadium, and all prisoners go there to play football and walk around. For those that are interested, for those that want to run, they do exercises as far as they want, except prisoners in the death row. These cannot go outside the death row walls. They don't have an opportunity to exercise, which the law has said they're permitted to exercise. No, I cannot play football because, as you see, the condition of my legs. But I can walk as a form of exercise. And since I've been on the death row, every day, from Monday to Friday, I just rest on Saturday and Sunday because God rested on the seventh day, so I rest.
From Monday to Friday.
But from Monday to Friday, I walk around the 4 blocks on the death row because there are 4 blocks. No. This area, there are streams of wastewater, the place that I walk around, and these are places where prisoners on death row go to wash their clothes. This is where they go in the morning to rest. For me, I am supposed to negotiate on these streams of wastewater, and one leg is not working properly thanks to unknown assailants that attacked me. I walk every day, and all days I have this fear that what happens if I trip and fall down, because these streams of dirty water or wastes are not for purposes of exercises. For exercises, there's a big playing ground behind these corridors of our death rows. But since Good Friday until this day today, 8th day today, I've never been permitted, or anyone else in the death row, to go and exercise. And the law says they are permitted to do that. Therefore, Honorable Magistrate, I have said
regulating the prisoners in the death row. What are the regulations of Prisons Act? Item 58. Look at the item 72, Honorable Magistrate. Section 72 of the Prisons Act.
A prisoner under the sentence of death shall be confined apart from other prisoners in a special cell or ward. And the treatment.
Okay, he's not speaking in English. You can proceed with him.
The treatment of the prisoner under sentence of death shall be as may be prescribed.
And the law, the prison services says, for us who are not on death row inmates, we are not supposed to be mixed with the death row prisoners. So it is now in the act. I have told my advocates for the 6 to 80 days that I've been in the prison, they have tried their best, but they didn't make it. They have failed. Now, Honorable Magistrate, my advocates have told me that I'm now coming to the court, Honorable Court. My advocates have told me that they have raised these issues before your Honorable Court. They have raised these issues on these violations of the rights of the prisoner or the detainees. They have drawn your attention on this unlawful treatment of the remand prisoners. And have told me that the response that they got, that the court cannot interfere prison services regulations. Now, Honorable Magistrate, this stand, if it is true, if it's true that you have told them this stand violates the law principles of this country, you are completely out of step with the law of the country. Honorable Magistrate, you are visiting justice here. You are one of the people who visit prisons. This law says that in Regulation 48, I'm looking for that section. Kindly be patient with me. But the input of the provision is that a magistrate is a visiting justice of all prisons under his jurisdiction. You are a visiting justice of all prisons here in Dar es Salaam, including Ukonga Central Prison. Why do we say that you are visiting justice in that regard? Is it because you are an honorable magistrate? You are a judicial officer. You are a judicial officer. As a judicial officer, your duty does not end by the time you sentence a person. You have also to continue, even for those who have been condemned, to return to the prisons or to the remand prisons. You continue to supervise their treatment while they are in prison. Now let me take you to the regulations of Mandela Principles. Principle 4 of the Mandela Principles. It says any form of detention or imprisonment and all measures affecting the human rights of the person and any form of detention or the imprisonment shall be ordered by or be subjected to effective control of a judicial other authorities. Any form, yes, Principle 4 of the Mandela Principles. And when they have been called the principles, Mandela Principles, but the amendment of the Board of Principles of the protection of all persons under any form of detention or imprisonment. Any form of detention or imprisonment and all measures affecting the human rights of the person under any form of detention or imprisonment shall be ordered by. Can't really follow him because he's in you. Let us leave it to the DPP Moktaru to read the file, case file, and then we're going to meet so that we can be told after having gone through it what will be his decision. And I hope it is in that way, so we don't have to continue postponing the hearings. That's why I said that you are speaking one language. You are speaking your language. I understand you in that regard. If we are ready at that stage, then the file is already completed. It is going to be ready. We are going to meet again after 2 weeks here in this honorable court. The next hearing will be it will be on 30th, but the hearing should be on the 1st of July. The law allows within 15 days. So on the 1st of July, we have to meet here. Is it okay to you all? It's okay.